Good morning, everyone. Welcome to KK4Z. My name is Scott, and it is the day after the storm. I just finished taking my dogs for a walk, and so I thought I would take a look at my antennas to see how they are doing. This is my 270-foot off-center fed dipole. It is my main antenna, and I use it for amateur radio, and it also works pretty good on shares and Mars frequencies. One of the benefits of an off-center fed dipole is it's fairly broadbanded, and while they're not necessarily particularly designed to work all frequencies, they do. The SWR gets a little high, but most tuners, especially we'll call it the aftermarket tuners, will tune them. This is so unusual having this much snow here in Georgia, especially not in the mountains. It was great. I went for a walk yesterday morning and just had a blast. It was pouring down snow. As you can see, got some rabbit tracks here. You probably can't see them, but we've got some little birds, and they're slate-colored juncos. My mother used to call them snowbirds because they seem to arrive with the cold weather or with snow, and in this case, here they are. This is my other antenna, and this is a 203-foot terminated long wire. It's a random wire antenna, and I use it mostly on Mars frequencies. What's nice about it is it's quiet. It's probably 2 to 3 S units quieter than my off-center fed dipole. But I did want to get out here and let you guys see an unusual event. The last time we had any type of snow like this was, I think in 2019. Maybe 2018. I think it was 2018 was the last time we had any type of snow like this here. So for me, it's a treat. Of course, we're not going anywhere today because while there was snow on the roads yesterday, there's ice on the roads today. And so we're just going to stay home and enjoy the day. And I thought I'd show you a quick video of what's going on, and maybe I'll attach this to something else that I may do later on inside. But it's really good to see the snow. And then I'm gonna stop this, switch to a facing me and talk a little bit more. So everybody just stand by 1 second. Hello everyone, I'm back, and just kind of wanted to carry on what I was talking about today about being ready. Yesterday on my blog, kk4z.com, I talked about, part of being prepared. Part of being prepared is knowing your clothing. In other words, what works when and where. An example is, today. It's cold today, for us anyhow. It's just below freezing still. There's still, as you can see in the background, there's a lot of snow, and the snow is getting crusty and hard. And this is weather we don't see very often. But it's good to know how your clothes perform, and why that's important is when weather is bad like this, especially here in the South, because we're not accustomed to it, bad things can happen. Power can go out. There could be other interruptions. There could be a need for EMCOM or emergency communications operators to perform under these conditions. And more than likely, not everybody will be in a nice, warm, cozy room. Some of us may have to work outside. And so it's important to know how your clothes operate for a given temperature range and a given activity level. What I like to do is when this weather gets bad, I'll try on different combinations of the clothes I have just to understand how they work under what temperatures. When I was in the Army, it was pretty easy because we were issued one set of uniforms, and that's what we had. We didn't have several jackets. We had, well, back when I was in, we had the M65 field jacket with a liner. We could wear a scarf. And then in the mid-'80s with the BDUs, we could get a 5-button sweater. We had, wool underwear and some other clothing, but our choices were limited. So we pretty much knew what we could wear when, because, well, one, it was dictated to us, but two, we also had an understanding of those clothes because we wore them day to day throughout the year, depending on the conditions. So, for example, today, I'm wearing a hat I really like. It's my Filson hat. It's a wax canvas, so it's fairly water repellent, almost waterproof. But this version has a quilted insulating layer inside the brim, not inside the brim, but inside the hat itself, and it has wool ear flaps I can pull down over my ears. So I'm wearing it today just to see how it feels in sub-freezing weather. One of the combinations I like to wear is I have a Carhartt hoodie. That's what this is. And over the top of that, I'm wearing another Filson vest. But this one has a wool lining. When I originally bought this hat, I weighed about 60 pounds more than I weigh now. And while I've been selling some of my clothes, the bigger clothes, I decided to keep this because it makes a good work vest because of the canvas. It's also wax canvas. It's sturdy, and it's also very wind resistant. And while my hoodie can let a moderate breeze pass through and chill me, by wearing this vest over the top of it gives me that extra layer and makes being out in these temperatures comfortable. So I know how this combination works. It's the same thing on my blog. I talked about when I went walking 4 miles yesterday. I had a different set of clothes on, and I gave the pros and cons of why it worked or why it didn't work. Another example of that is Gore-Tex. Gore-Tex is fine as long as you're sitting still. But boy, once you start, getting into an active environment where you're doing things like walking, Gore-Tex does not breathe anywhere near like just water repellent garments do. And what happens is you start to sweat, and then your sweat condenses on the Gore-Tex jacket, and you end up being more wet from your own sweat than you would if it was snowing out like it was yesterday. Yesterday I wore a British windproof smock, and while the outside of the smock was very damp, my inside layers were warm and dry, and I was warmer and drier than I would have been had I worn the Gore-Tex jacket. And I know that because I tried the Gore-Tex jacket already this year. And like I said, if you're sitting still or doing low activity, the Gore-Tex is fine. But boy, once you start getting active and walking briskly like I was, I got wet and I didn't like it. So anyhow, I just wanted to bring that up again. And check out my blog, kk4z.com. I do an eclectic mix of things, technical, personal, radio, and it's a lot of fun. So I just wanted to add that to the mix of our winter weather. I'm enjoying it. So anyhow, you all take care. This is Scott, KK4Z, saying 73s.